here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here, nigga. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here, nigga. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. I don't keep it real from the jump. Living at my mama's house, we argue every month, nigga. I'm just trying to get it on my own.
Bang.
Working all night, traffic all the way home.
We gotta get to the episode.
What?
I know. We went through this last year.
Okay. But this still proves my point. We picked these 5 songs, and you be cutting me off when I get in the zone. I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my ish.
I can see that. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Marquis.
And this is your one and only, your favorite Taylor.
And we're back.
We're back. Welcome back to the You Stuck With Me podcast.
Yo, this is the start of season 4 of the podcast. Man.
4?
4.
Dang.
So we're going to kick this first episode off because this is one that's very special, and I'm going to tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because this episode marks 1 year we officially been doing the podcast.
1 year. Like a new baby.
Mm-hmm.
Goo goo gaga up in this.
As y'all can see, my wife still has issues.
But you still love me, though.
No doubt. So in this episode, we're going to dive into 1 full year of our episodes. So if you guys been kicking it with us, we actually have, this will be our 40th episode.
Woo!
Yeah, so we, throughout the last year, through, podcast-wise, we've actually talked about and spoke on a lot.
We have, and it also made me realize we experienced a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing how a year can just transform and make you see things in a different light and give you a different perspective.
Well, I would want to say this. We like to thank all y'all, all the mamas, the daddies, the boyfriends, the girlfriends,
Mm-hmm.
all the couples, married, not married. Thanks for the support over the year.
Yes, because without you guys, we couldn't do this. We couldn't have the impact that we want to have and do have and will have.
Mm-hmm.
So, to open up with this episode, we're going to start off talking about some of our favorite episodes.
Well, of course, one of my favorite episodes is the first episode. The da-da. They don't know who we be.
Yeah, we got to, that first episode, we definitely got to introduce ourselves to you guys and the purpose of the podcast. And
the sound was whack.
it was
a little whack.
It was, but just the fact of being able to do it and start off, the first step, I think that was pretty good in itself. People introducing everyone to us and giving a little glimpse into our life story before future episodes that we got to dive in and tell you guys more about us.
Yeah, and then also too, and then just from that one episode to see it blossom to now, what is it, the 40th episode?
That's
just crazy. It don't even seem like we've been doing that many episodes to me.
I know, right? So I'm going to speak on one of my favorite episodes. One of my favorite episodes was the date night episode.
Excuse me, miss.
Oh, what's your name? Where are you from? Where can I come? And possibly, can I take you out tonight? Yeah, I definitely had fun doing that episode because we talked about the different dates that we've been on and the different ways we come up with our date nights. So, with that one, I've actually spoken to a few of our listeners about our date nights and that giving perspective on how we find our date night. So, just to give you guys a little tour back down memory lane.
Back down memory lane.
So one of the ways that when I see something that I like that I think would make a good day is actually when I'm driving Uber, because you tend to see a lot of stuff driving around the city of Chicago and the neighboring suburbs.
Yeah. I would say one of my favorite episodes and the more recent ones, Cause I love our karaoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my favorite ones is like, here we go.
Here we go again.
We're going through the same things.
Here we go again.
Even though that episode was kind of crazy because I learned something new about my body.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It was fun, reliving it. Now I can laugh at it. But it was kind of fun reliving it, just the facial expressions we made. And then also in hopes, that we actually help somebody.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of that, I'm glad you said that, babe. In each one of our episodes, one of our biggest goals is to make sure that in some way, form, or fashion that we are helping somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we joke and play a lot, but there's some episodes there's some deeper meaning to it. And you know us, we can be serious when we want to be. But laughter is life's best pain medicine.
Agreed. And to speak on what you just said about some of our episodes having a deeper meaning, one of the episodes that we did do that I liked that had a deeper meaning, it was speaking on mental health.
Was that I'm not okay? I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was that episode.
I would say one of the deeper episodes, as I'm looking, shameless plug, as I'm looking at the You Stuck With Me podcast playlist, I would definitely say it's a toss-up between Unpretty and Take Me As I Am.
Those were some heavy episodes.
Yeah, and I like those episodes because it really had me search deep inside myself and also be open.
Yeah, we definitely talked about vulnerability and being open in a lot of episodes.
I definitely tore down some walls.
Yeah. And to be honest with you guys, also, another reason why we do this podcast, it's a form of therapy.
Yeah. It's like, how's that song go? Your secrets are safe with me.
Safe with me.
I won't tell your secrets.
Even though we kind of do.
Yeah. And you know one thing, okay, there's one thing I don't like about some of these episodes. I always got something going on. Like, this is our 40th episode. My allergies decided want to be acting up. I'm up here sniffing and trying not to sneeze. Before that, I didn't have no voice. Before that, my mouth was swollen because the whole Wiz 2 episode, which is that's a memorable episode, by the way. I get
high off the memory.
High off the memory.
Speaking of that,
I'm still mad I can hit that high note.
Speaking of that, we definitely had a lot of funny stories and episodes. And speaking of that one also made me think of I can't stop laughing every time I think of this.
What?
The episode we were talking about when we were doing delivering the food, and you said, "Babe, they over there sniffing that shit."
They really was sniffing that shit. Oh, here he go.
That will forever be one of my favorite episodes because till this day, every time I think about it, I'll bust up laughing.
Or what else? One episode that got some talk about it was the Forever My Lady episode. Well,
man.
So you have it, my baby, and it seems just like a dream.
It seems that's not the exact line. I'm trying to remember.
See, just go along with it. We are one. You're supposed to be going along with it. If I'm rocking, you rolling, and vice versa. It was close.
And I just remember, and it seems so much to me.
Well, there you go.
To this day, we're going to continue this disclaimer, she's not pregnant.
Again, say it for the people in the back.
She is not pregnant.
I am not pregnant. And another thing, too, because I got to address this, okay? All because, and I'm looking right into this camera. You see my face here? You see this? Okay. All because Facebook says I'm going to have twins don't mean I'm gonna have twins, and it don't mean that I'm pregnant with twins right now. So, again, babe, would you tell them for the third time, for the people in back?
She is not with child.
Stop plotting on my uterus. Okay?
And that is my wife, y'all.
Mic drop. I still got issues.
That was one of my favorite episodes, talking the pregnancy scare.
Baby.
That episode was funny in itself.
Yeah, but I'm too old for a pregnancy scare now. It's just gonna be what it is, what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, another one I like was the Soft Life episode. I'm trying to remember, was that the You Need a Man with sensitivity, a man like me?
I believe that was.
I think that was it, yeah. And then we had our special guest. Shout outs to D Money.
My bro Darius Warren, we came through with the all men's episodes.
Yeah.
That episode was it was a 2-part episode, but it was
that was a good episode.
Yeah, it was definitely deep in itself because we got to really discuss topics from a millennial man's point of view.
Yeah, and he definitely dropped some gems, and he told stuff I didn't even know.
Yeah, and with that episode, we definitely wanted people to, or our listeners more importantly, to really consider things from a men's perspective or a man's perspective, and not just follow what they say on social media or what's popular and trendy, but the real deal Holyfield.
Wait a minute, babe. We cannot talk about favorite episodes and not talk about the episode dedicated to the celebrity we met.
Man, we didn't met so many.
Man.
Starting with the Ellises.
Shout outs to the Ellises. You know what? DeVal always talk about he's a big manifester, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start right. I'm going to start this new season right. I am manifesting that we will get the Ellises on our podcast.
I like it. You know who else I would like to get on our podcast?
Who?
Kev on Stage and his wife Melissa Preston.
Yes.
I would love to get them on our podcast.
I hope y'all listen to us right now. We are manifesting that we, the Williams family here, will have the Frederick and the Ellises on the You Stuck With Me podcast.
Dun dun dun. I like it.
And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb.
But something else we want to, with our season this year, or this season rather, we're going to dive into a lot of more topics. Some topics that are personal to me, some funny stories, and just everyday life.
And I'm working on something too, because I mean, we can't have an all men's episode without having an all ladies episode.
Talk about it.
So,
ladies, we got y'all covered.
We got you covered. It's coming. It's coming.
Stay tuned.
Do do do.
So man, I wanna dive into something a little.
Whoa! We can't just dive into that just yet.
Nah, I wasn't gonna dive into that one. I wasn't gonna.
We cannot talk. We cannot talk about meeting the Ellises without talking about without seeing one of my favorite people of all time.
Miss Tamar Braxton.
No.
No, not her.
No, she is one of my favorite people, but no.
Miss Janet, If You're Nasty. Yeah, I definitely like that episode. That was the first episode of last season.
Oh my gosh.
That was fun. That concert was fun.
Oh gosh. That was my first time being that close to her. And that is another thing I'm manifesting too. I'm looking directly in the camera now. We're gonna meet Miss Janet Jackson in person.
Yeah, because the whole time we were supposed to when
we ain't talking about that. That's in the past now. We focus on the present. Manifesting that too. We're gonna meet her, and me and her gonna become besties.
Talk about it.
We're gonna become besties. But yeah, now we can go ahead.
So I wanted to dive into something for real quick. When we were creating this podcast, what were you thinking? Did you have any reservations? Did you think like, okay, I'm in? Like,
I was scared as hell.
why?
First of all, you hear me on the podcast. I'm goofy. I'm loud. I like to laugh. In person, I'm opposite. I'm a little. I'm not gonna say I'm shy, but I'm one of those I could be reserved until I fill out a room,
Okay.
right? But I was nervous. I was scared as hell because, yes, I'm working on being open and vulnerable. Yeah, I actually said it correctly this time. Vulnerable. It's I'm okay being that with you, but like sharing personal stuff with with the public, I was scared because I'm like, I might get judged, or maybe it won't help somebody, or in the sense I felt like certain stuff I would be by myself, like isolated. Does that make sense?
Like you felt like someone wouldn't be able to understand where you were coming from.
Right.
I get it. I definitely get it.
And then just like putting out a new product or anything like that, you do get scared because you're like, what if this doesn't pan out? And even though I made the joke earlier, as a content creator, sometimes I do get sensitive about my stuff.
I mean, you have every right to be in, but I'm not gonna say but my when we thought about the concept of doing our own podcast, I felt honestly I was never scared about it, but I also felt like we had a story to tell.
Yeah, because I remember that conversation because everybody used to tell us, you should write a book, you should write a book. I'm like, we're not in that part of our lives just yet where we should be writing a book because the book is still being written.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that.
So why, instead of writing a book, why not do a podcast? Because every day,
something new.
Something new. that just goes how we roll. And that's how we roll. You know what it is. You know what it is. They don't know.
She's just full of songs on this first
am.
episode, y'all.
Music is my happy place, but everybody knows that.
Yeah, at least by season 4 you should.
Yeah. And if you don't know, now you know.
You know.
You know very well.
But for me personally, as far as doing this podcast, it's giving me another outlet just to speak my mind and converse with you on topics that are culturally relevant and some things that we just want to talk about. And it's like, okay, this is my thought process on it. What is yours? And if we differ, realizing that it's okay to differ and agree to disagree. And I actually think that doing a podcast in some ways has helped our relationship because
I can agree.
Because as we go through things, it's fresh in our minds. Like, okay, I felt this way, you felt this way. Working on our communication and how we converse, how we came to, if it was not a complete agreement, how we agreed to disagree.
Yeah.
And I like that because it goes to show that even though we're going into almost year 2 of our marriage, how the transition from us, and not just the transition, but how our relationship has grown from just being friends to dating, then from dating to being married, and everything that encompassed with our relationship, because it's so unique. And I definitely appreciate what you bring to the podcast as my co-anchor, and how you also challenge me as not just your co-anchor, as your husband, but as a person. So I'm definitely thankful for the podcast, and I'm thankful for all the episodes that we've put out and all the help that we've been able to give people. And just looking back on our episodes, all the humor and all the actual serious marriage moments that we had. And the one that actually comes to mind, believe it or not, is the bed episode.
I remember the bed episode, but what song did we do for that?
I almost wanted to say it was. I almost want to say it was Jay Holiday Bed. It was one of our first few episodes.
We didn't put that on there. I think it might have been When It Hurts. No. Or
that was a serious episode too, though. But no.
Close to You.
Mm-mm.
We'll figure that out. But
just
that just goes to show you this goes to show you when we come up with these episodes and topics, it be in real time.
Yeah.
Right? So it just be fresh in our minds, and we just like right there, like, oh, I got the song.
It was just basically about our first major purchase as a husband and wife, but it just going through things like that, and talking about our first argument or our big blow up.
That's what it was. Can we just talk? Can we just talk?
Talk about where we're going.
Yeah.
So
I think that was it.
I just like doing the podcast with you, and I as the podcast grows, or as we grow, the podcast grows. So.
And baby, there's a lot more growing to do.
Yeah, we're just like the podcast, an unfinished product.
Yeah. And then one thing I do like about the podcast, I mean, of course, I love doing this with you as like I say, a co-podcaster, a co-host, co-creator, whatever. I just like to see like some of the comments and how some of our friends and family, or even those listeners, I don't want to say strangers, those listeners who we could be driving or something like that, doing a side hustle, and they be like, hey, you mentioned something on this podcast. I just want to tell you that it helped me. It helped me have a different perspective of relationships. Or I had a friend. He was like, he would tell me like, your podcast lets me know I need to get my shit together. But I had to tell him like, that's not the purpose of that, because again, we've been saying this from day one. The same Marquis and Taylor that you see now was not the same Marquis and Taylor, almost 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Different. So, but the purpose is not like saying that you should do this, you should do that. That was one thing I made it clear to you, remember? I said, I don't want to be like a self-help podcast, because we're not experts.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that the best advice I give is something that I've been through already, or I tell somebody in the way that I wish somebody would have told me. So just to hear like, oh, your podcast inspired me to do this, or I enjoy hearing y'all, it just gives me a different perspective on the way of thinking. And then also, the joy I get out of it is not only that I can do it with my best friend, who's happened to be my husband, aka my ball and chain, but it just gives a positive example that Black millennial marriages can work, and they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And just the whole millennial marriage thing, it's just letting everybody know that it does exist and it can work as long as you put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like about it.
What else I like about doing podcasts with you, and the podcast that what it's become now, it's just how it's grown. I mean, we went from doing podcasts to having a social media presence with Facebook and the Instagram.
And then the YouTube, because that's a big step.
Yeah, YouTube. And you're on TikTok. I'm still not, but...
We both on Threads, but I'm on Threads, but we haven't used it yet. But we're getting there.
But as the seasons have gone by, we've grown. The podcast has grown. Like this is our baby.
Yeah. And in a sense, I think this is kind of our ministry.
And I have no problem with that, because if we can find our own unique way, the podcast is our own unique way to help people, and I'm cool with that.
And in a sense, it brought us more opportunities.
Agreed, because we've gotten in touch with some influential people who have taken us by the hand, explained things to us, showed us things. So
yeah, and turns out they were actually listening the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so babe, as we conclude this episode, I have to ask you, what's next?
Ooh, good question. Ooh, very good question. Right about now, I don't have anything that comes across my mind immediately. Right, I'm just enjoying the ride.
Okay.
What do you think?
I can tell you, it's gonna be more thought-provoking conversation. More songs, cause you know your girl is full of songs. More laughter, more crying. Just overall, constantly reminding you that you stuck. You stuck with me.
You stuck with us.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that actually just gave me an idea of what I would like to ask you. What's a goal you would like to see for the podcast?
I want to hit 1,000 listeners.
I like that.
Yeah, 1K listeners. Matter of fact, let's do it. Road to 1K.
Oh, I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
We're about manifestation this season, y'all.
Yeah, I think that this season should be the theme should be manifestation and
manifestation.
Manifestation, and the things that we want to see in our lives. My big goal for the podcast is not. It would be nice if it happened soon, but it's probably gonna be some time down the road. But I would like to do a live show.
Hey, I always said I could see us doing a TV show too.
Yeah, I would like to do a live show one day.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that in the episode later down the road, because we could talk about what we did during our break.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of stories.
Yeah, plenty of stories.
So on that note, babe, you want to tell the people where they can find us?
You can find us on Facebook at the You Stuck With Me podcast page. You can find us on Instagram at the You Stuck With Me _podcast. And, babe, you want to tell them how else they can hit us up with, like, if they want to ask us a question, give us sticky notes?
You guys can email us at youstuckwithme@gmail.com. That is USTUCKWITME@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram in the app formerly known as Twitter at my_1. That is M1NE_1.
And you can find me on Instagram and the app formerly known as Twitter as Queen Points. That is P1NTZ. Again, that is Queen Points, PO1TZ. And also I'm on TikTok if you want to see some more behind the scenes stuff, how we prep for these episodes. That is Queen Points 22.
So to wrap up this episode, the biggest thing I took away from it was I definitely enjoyed doing the podcast, and I can't wait to see what we got coming up next in the future.
Oh, because it's becoming bigger and better. And it's manifestation season.
Definitely down with the manifestation. So signing off, this is your boy Marquis.
And this is your 1 million, your favorite Taylor.
And remember, you stuck with us.
Hey, come back.
Y'all better.
Peace.
Later.